So you're thinking of moving to the Colorado Springs area, and even and especially if you're from out of state, it's ultra important to consider schools and school districts. If you have a family, if you have children, people are very specific in their wants and needs and goals, reference their children, programs that are specific, that'll work well for their children depending on learning styles. So it's really important to consider schools, and I'm going to contrast 3 different school districts today on the north side of Colorado Springs, ranging from east to west. They're all adjacent to each other, 11, 20, and 49, ranging way out east all the way into the west side of the north part of Colorado Springs. So we're going to contrast those school districts as well as highlight some neighborhoods that have some key schools in each of them. And this was suggested by a buddy of mine a little while ago when I said, hey, what kind of videos would you like to see and what would be really helpful for people that not a lot of realtors are doing? And he said, man, let's contrast school districts and take a look at the differences and nuances between them to help people understand the flavor and kind of the amenities and things offered or not and features of each school district. So that's what we're going to do today for 3 different school districts in Colorado Springs, because you don't know what you don't know. So let's go check them out. I connect with people just like you every day to help them discover where to live and invest in real estate and sell property for top dollar when the time is just right. My name is Leif Jacobson. I'm an ex-cop turned realtor, also known as Safe Leif. If you're new to this channel, please subscribe so you're first to learn about all things Colorado real estate. I'm glad to be a resource for you. My contact information is below, and I'm super excited to hear from you. So reach out by text, call, or email after this video and make any comments you want so I can make better videos and be a great resource and provide value to you. You can also make a calendar appointment with me so I can reach out to you directly, whatever works best and as far as a mode of communication. So today we're talking about different school districts in Colorado Springs, 3 different school districts. Let's go ahead and cover those, but I'll give you kind of a high level first and ease your mind a little bit, because if you're concerned about moving to Colorado Springs area and being in just the right spot, which is important to all of us, you can ease your mind a little bit because we offer school choice here in Colorado Springs. And what that means is that you don't have to live near the school. You don't even have to live in the same district. A lot of cities, if you don't live within a district, you cannot put your children there. Your address has to have a specific zip code or a specific nuance as far as location in order to qualify or be within a district, but not in Colorado Springs. You can live in any district and put your kids in any school district you want in Colorado Springs, which again, if there's, learning disabilities or AP classes, advanced placement, or things that you want specifically for your children, if you want to basically live in an area but you don't necessarily want to go to school that's close to there, then you have the option of going to a school or a district that's outside of where you live. And a lot of cities are not that way. So it's a huge advantage to Colorado Springs. The one disadvantage is transportation can be tough if you want to be outside of the district that you live in. So you'll likely have to drive your kids to and from school, especially little kids, unless they can get themselves to and from school. You're likely going to have to transport them to and from if it's a bit of a distance and you're going outside of your district. But again, it's nice to have the option. A lot of places and a lot of cities have no option for that at all. So consider the transportation, consider the location, and consider this video as far as we're going to highlight some of the nuances and differences between the schools. So let's get into it. 3 districts. I'm going to give you kind of a high level play here, and then we'll go into each district, the pros and cons for each of them, as well as a bunch of neighborhoods and specific schools that are featured in each of them and kind of the flavor of each of those. So let's get into it. The first district we'll cover in an overview in Colorado Springs is Colorado Springs School District 11. It's the largest school district in the city, with 58 schools. It's more of an urban feel with a few outer schools. It can be a little more suburban. Neighborhoods and schools are in the central part of Colorado Springs landscape. Test scores are on the low side a little bit as far as Colorado averages, so there's that, just being upfront with that. School attendance is shrinking a little bit due to older population in those areas and students being choiced into other districts, just like we were talking about. You can choose where you want to go, even if you may live there. The neighborhoods are great, and there's several neighborhoods we'll feature: Pleasant Valley, Mountain Shadows, and Palmer Park. That's what we'll talk about today. The next school district we'll cover is District 20, which is an award-winning school district nationally, but especially within the state of Colorado. It's an extremely popular school district. Now, there are other school districts around that we shouldn't overshadow, like 49, which is great and has excellent academics, but a lot of people are fixated, and if you Google it, you'll come up with District 20 in Colorado Springs as far as one that is kind of has accolades and some sensationalism to it. And there's no question, a lot of it's justified. It's an outstanding school district with lots of different nuances. So some of those are, it's on the north side, central of Colorado Springs. Test scores are very high across the schools. There's no question. There's a very high level of scholastics there as far as what they can tout. It's consistent rated one of the top school districts in Colorado and has even been rated in the top so many school districts in the country. Each school has a specialty, so you can find a fit for your family specifically, kind of nuances and different learning styles. There are 40 schools and several homeschool options and programs and resources for homeschoolers who can use the public schools because we all pay taxes. It's not a very diverse population, so there is that, just to be upfront. You have to pay for school transportation a lot of the time. Even if you're in the district, you may have to pay for transportation. And a couple of great neighborhoods we'll go over is Rockrimmon, Cordera, and or Wolf Ranch, which is right next to Cordera. Kind of lump those together and they kind of adjoin each other, as well as the farm. The last district we'll cover as kind of a high-level view is District 49, which reaches all the way east of Colorado Springs in an area called Falcon, which is about 10 minutes east of east of the north part of Colorado Springs. As kind of a suburb of Colorado Springs. So just outside of the city into unincorporated El Paso County is District 49. It's a large district with several alternative programs for high school and charter schools. Even something that's cool out like Falcon High School, way out in District 49, they have livestock inside the school. It's surrounded by farmland, and there's livestock farms around. They bring livestock into the school and do a vet tech program for the kids. It's really neat. My kids actually go to Falcon, and it's been tremendous having them involved there. Really cool programs and full engagement for experiential stuff, which has been really cool. Average test scores as far as kind of state average and on a national average. 86% graduation rates, it's not too bad for District 49. And the neighborhoods we'll cover are Woodman Hills, Meridian Ranch, and Banning Lewis Ranch. So let's get into the nuances, pros and cons of each of those school districts, as well as talking about some other flavor and logistics on each of the neighborhoods within them. Let's cover School District 11 in some more detail and overview. There are 58 schools in the district with lots of elementary schools that are right smack in the middle of neighborhoods, so the school locations are outstanding. The class sizes are not maxed out. Generally, there's some good margin there and pretty good coverage, kind of teacher to student ratio. Test scores are average for the state of Colorado, which is pretty decent. They have pretty diverse student populations, so a little more than other districts like 20. They have more diverse as far as racial diversity in the students. Lots of sports and art opportunities for kids of all different abilities and all different interests. Only public Montessori grade school in the area is in District 11. District website is full of lots of information, is extremely helpful. There's another pro there, so feel free to look that up. Cons, there's a couple negatives here, depending on who you are, what your priorities are. A couple cons, that all test scores for schools are average or below. Sports teams are not excelling to state championships in general, so sports are not as much of a focus there as far as kind of a level or prowess of play. Numbers of student bodies are declining because of aging populations in the school district, which leads to some less funding there. Graduation rates are about 70%, so that's just a little lower. Math and reading scores tend to hit below Colorado average a little bit. 3 different neighborhoods we'll cover that are key schools within or near each of these neighborhoods. So Mountain Shadows has Trailblazer Elementary School, Chipeta Elementary School, Holmes Middle School, and Coronado High School. It's right along the mountains of the Front Range with kind of older homes mixed in with newer homes that are built after the Waldo Canyon fire of 2012. It's a massive forest fire that came in and destroyed hundreds or thousands of homes at that time. They're great family homes with manicured yards, great views of Colorado Springs as they're kind of northwest flavor of Colorado Springs there, or kind of proximity to town. There's also a large park near Chipeta Elementary School, great for play and sledding in the winter when snow is coming down. Pleasant Valley. Schools near Pleasant Valley are Howbert Elementary School, Holmes Middle School, and Coronado High School, similar schools that are within reach of that neighborhood. It's a quaint, charming neighborhood, kind of a hidden gem on the west side of Colorado Springs. Most of the homes were built in the 1950s and 1960s, so those can be a little antiquated, but plenty of them are updated. And most are ranch style, which was popular back then. It's located near Old Colorado City and Manitou Springs. It has easy and quick access to the mountains because it's right near the base of Pikes Peak and the Rocky Mountains. There's also a swim club in the neighborhood. It also has volleyball pits and lots of summer fun activities, which is fabulous. I like Pleasant Valley. It's a cool vibe there. Palmer Park, Audubon Elementary School, Stratton Elementary, Mann Middle School, and Doherty High School are all near Palmer Park. It's a very unique neighborhood. It's located on kind of the northeast side of Colorado Springs a little bit, and kind of central to northeast. Encompasses a 730-acre Palmer Park right smack kind of in the middle of the city, which is an outstanding park. It's a huge amount of space. Uncommon for cities to reserve that amount of space to have parks right within the city. It's awesome for pet owners and great for recreation. It's over 25 miles of trails, lots of mountain biking and hikers there. It's really neat to be close to the Powers corridor. Powers runs up and down, so I mean, within seconds or minutes of shopping at Costco or Target or Walmart, you can be literally seconds out the door from a Walmart location right on Palmer Park Boulevard. You can be on the wilderness trails, hiking 25 miles of wilderness there. So it's a unique location that way. The homes are super charming. There's plenty of tract homes there and pre-sales, but there's also lots of old school custom homes. And there are well-established neighborhoods and homes and lots of variation because of the park. Surrounding the park and on either side, lots of access to the park as far as the wilderness areas, and lots of greenery and lots of variation versus just being in kind of a cookie cutter block neighborhood. And all of those areas are right near Patty Jewett Golf Course, which is a fabulous golf course kind of in the north end of town. Okay, back to District 20. Let's cover some more nuances, pros and cons of District 20 very specifically, which has been one of the top 10 districts in the state of Colorado for a long time. Very high test scores across the board, especially in math and reading. There are 40 schools, 26,000 students in District 20. Each school has a different focus in general, or kind of a bent, and that's arts integrated, international baccalaureate, STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math, project-based learning, outdoor learning, and all sorts of different focuses there. So I'm a theme guy. I'm a kinesthetic learner. I'm all about practical learning. So I love schools that have a very specific flavor and kind of a nuance for a specific thing or theme that you want to learn within. 93% graduation rate across the district is very high for a school district in general. Nationally, in the state of Colorado, by anybody's standards, that's a very high graduation rate. It's an accredited district with numerous distinctions in the state of Colorado. It's very desirable and popular. Again, if you Google it or research it, you will get lots of information and lots of people to talk to who are set on being in that district. But again, with the choice program, you can go there and apply there to go there as long as you get in without necessarily living there, because house prices correspond in general to the more desirable school district. The higher in the school district, this is probably nationwide, I'm sure. Higher in the school district, the higher the house prices are because it's desirable to live there. And the good and bad news is that our country is all about supply and demand as a capitalism culture. There's some cons of the district. Not every district is perfect. It has less of a diverse student population, no question, so more of white or Caucasian student population proportionally than many other districts. It's grown so fast that the buildings are all at capacity or beyond. I mean, there are waiting lists around every corner in District 20 as far as getting into the schools that I know of. And so things are pretty packed. It's, again, supply and demand. It's very, very lower supply and higher demand as far as getting into the schools. Larger school populations can make it harder to participate in some of the sports and art programs. You have to pay to ride the bus to school, even if you're within the district. Most schools charge to use the bus, so that can be a contention for folks. Most after-school sports do not have bus transportation to events, and rely on the parents to take the kids to and from. So neighborhoods, 3 different neighborhoods we'll cover that are within School District 20. Rockrimmon, Cordera, and Wolf Ranch, and the Farm. So Rockrimmon, schools nearby are Woodman Roberts Elementary, Eagle View Middle School, and Air Academy High School. It's a secluded neighborhood with quiet mountain surroundings, large lots, lots of mature landscaping and trees, and lots of variation as far as the landscape. It's literally right at the base of the Rocky Mountains with unbeatable views of Colorado Springs, kind of slanting back toward the city. Most of the homes were built in the 90s, some late 80s, most in the 90s, some into the early 2000s, and a few have been built since, but it pretty much was built out during that time. They're nestled right up against the base of the Rockies, right at the base of the mountains there, and have great access right into the Rocky Mountains. From a lot of homes, you're literally steps away as far as a trail that'll take you right up into the Rocky Mountain wilderness. Be lots of wildlife wandering the streets, and that can be a positive or negative depending on whether you're afraid of wild animals. There's bears actually that come down every day right down into Rockrimmon, not because they're trying to hurt anybody or do anything, but they smell the trash from the houses when people put out their garbage cans, and they'll come down and kind of dig around and just looking for food, of course. The streets are mid-sized and yards are mid-sized to play in. There's some really larger lots and kind of rural style lots there as far as homes. There are 2 great parks located in the neighborhood with lots of space for playing and exploring, which is fabulous. Ute Valley Park is a massive park, also with hiking and mountain biking trails right in the middle of Rockrimmon, which is a really great resource with neighborhoods and homes all around it on all sides. Cordera and Wolf Ranch. These are on the northeast side of Colorado Springs. These are newer neighborhoods, just platted within the last decade or 2. They're both kind of adjoining, so I kind of lumped them in together. They have a very similar flavor with each other. The school district, or the schools there within this district are Chinook Elementary, Chinook Middle School, and Pine Creek High School. There are master plan communities that are masterfully planned, I would say. They're very well done. If I didn't live out in Falcon, I would live in either one of these, Cordera or Wolf Ranch. I love both of these communities. They have clubhouses, pools, rec centers. There's unique and fun parks. The greenery is gorgeous. The landscaping is beautiful. They're very well maintained. And the HOA's fees on a monthly basis for living there are extremely affordable for what you get and the amenities. They have great walking paths throughout the neighborhoods. Many wind in between just green spaces and open space between the houses. My opinion is they're extremely well designed as far as a master plan community and kind of the intent of the PUD, Public Utility District, or master plan community, as far as giving that community flavor and feel for neighborhoods and neighbors to connect and communicate and have a relationship with each other. I love a neighborhood with those kind of feel. The houses range vastly in size. We talked about the trails that are winding through as well, that kind of meander between the houses, and lots of open space and great parks. There's a farmer's market that's really cool. They have movie nights and summer concert series during the summer, as well as a Christmas tree lighting during the winter. Most of the streets and cul-de-sacs create less traffic and more neighbors connecting because they've swirled them and intentionally stubbed off streets and dead ends here and there in neighborhoods to keep people from flying through or picking up speed in neighborhoods. As an ex-cop, I'm sensitive to that. And so I like how it's designed that way, that fosters community and connection with people. The last neighborhood we'll talk about in District 20 is the Farm. Da Vinci Academy Elementary School, Discover Canyon Middle School and High School. It's one of the newest neighborhoods on the north side of Colorado Springs. It's right off of Interstate 25, just on the north side of the Colorado Springs city limits. It's known for its thoughtful layout of walking trails, parks, and design. There's a fabulous new rec center that was just built there, which is outstanding. A lot of the houses have that kind of Northwest craftsman kind of feel, kind of the farmhouse craftsman feel of the houses, and I love that design. 3 to 5 bedrooms on the houses is pretty typical in there. Yards are smaller side. There's lots in general are a little bit smaller. It's located near lots of shopping and restaurants. I-25 is right there for jumping on and going north or south, and it's not far. It's minutes from, Target, Costco, Walmart, and the main resources there, and lots of other entertainment stuff that's kind of going in on the north side of the Springs. The last district we'll highlight here is District 49, in a little more detail and the pros and cons and the key neighborhoods of District 49, which is where I live. It's the fastest growing school district in all of El Paso County, especially because nothing is landlocked, and basically the moment you go east of Colorado Springs, pretty much Kansas is that way as far as continuing to go that way. So you're not locked in or confined by space or geography. So it's growing tremendously. There's many thousands of homes going in. The district is so large, they actually have 3 zones that help them be flexible with the needs of the community where the students live and are going to school. The more urban schools have 1 zone, and the rural schools have another, so they can focus on the needs of each place and each location. Several public charter schools to choose from. A few cons of District 49 are that it covers the northeast side of Colorado Springs and Falcon, so your drive could be a little further. I've got other videos on that, speaking to that as well, especially because I live in Falcon. If you are averse to driving a few more minutes, it's not an hour out of town, but if you're averse to another 10 minutes, 15 minutes each way, then that could be a deterrent for you. The high school student to teacher ratio is 21-1. Test scores are pretty average as far as state of Colorado, and I think even a national average. Scores are low in academics and college prep a little bit, so those are a little bit low on the lower side. 86% graduation rate is actually pretty darn good, depending on your basis of comparison. There's no right or wrong on that, depends on where you're coming from. 3 different neighborhoods we'll cover. Our Meridian Ranch is the first one we'll cover. The schools in Meridian Ranch are Meridian Ranch Elementary, Falcon Middle School, and Falcon High School. It's a master plan community with a fabulous rec center with an indoor pool and lazy river. I use it myself personally all the time. The rec center is outstanding. There's Antler Creek Golf Course. It's a fabulous golf course. It's the longest golf course in all of Colorado, and actually second longest golf course in the entire United States. Miles of trails and walking trails, and things are a little more spread out with little pocket parks throughout the neighborhood. Mid-sized lots as far as property, and several housing styles to choose from, depending on where you are in the neighborhood. There's been building in the neighborhood for something like 12 years, if I remember correctly, 15 years maybe. So it's platted quite a while ago, but there's thousands of brand new houses going in, as well as houses that have been around for quite some time now. So still plenty of houses being built, still plenty of growth, and you can get older with a little bit larger trees, but not super mature landscaping. It's nothing like D11, when you're in with neighborhoods that are 50, 60, 70-year-old neighborhoods that have fully mature landscaping. Woodman Hills is another neighborhood we'll cover out in this area, which is Woodman Hills Elementary School, Falcon Middle School also, and Falcon High School. They share the middle and high school as far as the student population. It's also a master plan community with a golf course that stretches in between. They actually share the same Antler Creek Golf Course comes from Meridian Ranch and swirls down through Woodman Hills as well. They have 2 different rec centers, and the public can use the rec centers, which is a nice thing to note about Woodman Hills. A lot of the neighborhoods, you have to have an address or live within the neighborhood unless you're a guest of someone who lives in the neighborhood. You actually have to live within the neighborhood. So it's nice that you don't in Woodman Hills. You can just come in, you can live down in Colorado Springs and just come in and use, for a fee, you can use their rec centers, which is kind of a nice perk or ability to do that. It's known for its oversized lots and amenities. They actually disbanded their HOA years ago. So if you have needing more flexibility as far as what and where you park, cars or vehicles, or you have a shop or stuff you work on or equipment, if you run a small business, you can park vehicles around there. So some people like the fact that there's no HOA anymore as far as stopping you from parking or doing specific things with lots, depending on what your needs are. Parks and trails is really well done. Balkan Park is there that was just revamped with a gorgeous turf field. They just put in pickleball courts and the new basketball courts. They've been doing a good job putting money into recreation opportunities there. Neighborhood feels pretty open in general, and they're a little older houses in Woodman Hills. I'd say from the 90s, late 80s into mid and late 90s, as well as into the 2000s. If you head kind of in between Falcon and the north end of Colorado Springs, the northwest side of Colorado Springs, is Banning Lewis Ranch, which is a massive, massive property. So there are about just under 3,000 homes in Banning Lewis right now. Most people don't know that Banning Lewis has room for 120,000 homes in the neighborhood. That's in one neighborhood, 120,000 homes. So it's a 50-year build on this community, and it's owned by a local developer who's building it out like crazy, and it is huge. So 3,000 homes now, room for 120,000. The schools are Banning Lewis Charter Schools, Inspiration View Elementary, Skyview Middle School, and Vista Ridge High School are some of the schools in there. It's a great and growing community with community centers and pools. Right at the entrance of the property is their main community center. They have more of them going in, obviously. With a neighborhood that size, you got more and more resources being built all the time. There's also a large charter school campus right in the middle of the neighborhood. It's great for walking. There's fabulous paved trails that swirl all throughout the neighborhood. Lots of sidewalks and small pocket parks kind of sprinkled throughout the neighborhood. And there's sport courts and pools and splash parks, really neat amenities within the neighborhood. The yards and the lot sizes are smaller, but that translates into more affordability versus the houses in town when they have really large lots. So those are the 3 districts in Colorado Springs that we're going to contrast today. Depends on your priorities and your goals, what's important to you as far as where you want to be, where you want to live, and how you want to roll. But the great thing is, again, that you can live wherever in Colorado Springs and send your kids to whatever school you want. If you're willing to drive them there, you can apply to any school and get in. So it's neat to have that freedom. I love being a resource for you. I'm glad to hopefully provide information that was helpful for you today. Thanks for connecting with me. Thanks for hanging in there with me. Shoot me a text, email, or phone call. I'd love to hear from you or book an appointment with me, and let me know down below if there's any other videos you'd like to see and what else I can record and be helpful and valuable for you as you consider moving to and or living in Colorado. See you in the next video.